What's going on, guys? It's Ja Morant back at it again with another episode of NBA Kicks, the show where we count down the top 10 best sneakers in the NBA every single week of the season. But before we get started, I want to know where you guys are watching this show from. It's a little experiment, so go ahead and drop a comment down below with the country that you're watching this show from, and let's see how many different countries and how far this show has reached out onto the world. I'm really excited to see. I already know my Filipinos are gonna stand up. I already know America's gonna stand up, of course. But let's see how many African countries, European countries, South American, Asian countries. Let's see how many different countries people are watching this show from. I think it's gonna be really cool. But now, let's get into this episode of NBA Kicks. Starting off the list at number 10, we have Tobias Harris with the GT Cut 2. Today, we're starting off the list with a simple but clean look for the cult favorite. The GT Cut line from Nike has received positive reviews from users both visually and performance-wise, but the sequel to the original looks like it improves on both aspects. This colorway, which Tobias rocked against his former team, the Clippers, uses a neutral tone color scheme with subtle hints of light blue for some added color. Overall, I'm a huge fan of the visual appeal that the GT Cut has to offer, but like I said earlier, people have been loving how they feel on the court with their Cushlon midsole and React drop-in sock liner, which you can get right now for an absolute steal of a price at $140. And oh, wait, before you go over to Nike.com, don't worry, I already provided the link for you down in the description box. Again, this is not sponsored. I would have to tell you that it's not. I just really like this colorway, and I'm looking out for you guys if you want to treat yourself to a new pair of kicks. I mean, $140 for these? That's a steal. Next up at number 9, we have Donovan Mitchell with the Don issue number 4. Adidas is absolutely feeling themselves right now with Donovan Mitchell and his 4 signature model. As you guys all know, Mitchell dropped 71 points, which only Kobe Bryant and Wilt Chamberlain have scored more points in a single game than that. And to celebrate, Adidas dropped the price of the Don issue number 4 to $71. On top of that, Adidas has dropped a crazy amount of colorways, which makes the Don issue number 4 one of the most prolific sneakers in the world right now. As for the colorway that Mitchell rocked in Portland, these use a blue and pink and white color scheme with stars scattered across the upper, which low-key are giving off patriotic vibes, especially with that Adidas stripes logo on the toe box. Unfortunately though, that $71 promo is no longer available. However, you can still get the Don issue number 4 on sale, which was already an incredible value. So Adidas is really trying to get people's feet in the Don issue number 4, which also have been getting pretty solid reviews. Next up at number 8, we have Ja Morant with the Ja 1. The latest addition to the NBA Signature Sneaker Club debuts a new colorway of his debut signature model. Using a pink and blue color scheme, this colorway has a 12 a.m. graphic on the heel cup for some added character, while the wraparound swoosh uses a gradient yellow to navy color scheme, which makes the standout feature even more unique. Overall, this is just another solid colorway of the Ja 1, which hasn't released yet, but I am interested to see which colorway Nike decides to launch the Ja 1 with, because these pink joints are a decent choice, but then again, those purple Johns aren't a bad option either. Did I use that word right? Johns? Philly, let me know. Coming in at number 7, we have Tyrese Maxey with the New Balance two-way V3. Tyrese Maxey is the newest addition to New Balance's basketball roster, and he's rewarded with a player-exclusive colorway of one of my favorite performers of the year. This colorway uses a super bright yellow on both the midsole and upper, while the collar is rounded out with black, but the standout feature here is the metallic silver New Balance logo on the midfoot, which is outlined with a rainbow gradient. You also got Tyrese's jersey number on the tongue, which makes these truly a player exclusive, but overall this colorway fits great on the silhouette and obviously stands out with those really bright colors. And no, before you ask, I don't think Tyrese is a candidate for a signature sneaker, but who knows? New Balance really only has one signature athlete, so maybe they're looking to expand their roster. Personally, I would just throw my money at Victor Wembanyama next season, but he probably is gonna sign with a little bit of a bigger brand, but you gotta try. Next up at number 6, we have Anthony Simons with the KD 15. Anthony Simons is having a career year this season, and personally, I feel like he's in contention to be picked up for a shoe deal, just like Maxey was with New Balance, but for now, Simons is still rocking with the swoosh. This colorway of the KD 15 is a collaboration with New York City artist Timothy Goodman, who is known for this very Keith Haring style of artwork, which just looks absolutely killer on the KD 15, especially with that black upper, which really allowed those splashes of color to pop off the silhouette. As for Simons, I personally think he would be a great fit for an upcoming brand like Puma, New Balance, or even Converse, but who knows? Maybe Simons is a checks over everything else kind of guy, which I really can't blame him because he does play in Portland, which is essentially Nike's backyard. Next up at number 5, we got Trey Young with the Trey Young 2. Trey Young rocks a new colorway of his second signature model, which you couldn't buy even if you wanted to. Right now on Adidas.com, there's only a handful of colorways, with the majority of them being extremely basic. However, this new colorway Trey rocked in his game against the Raptors might just be the best colorway of the silhouette yet. Using a very 90s color scheme with that classic black and white with a hint of purple, very reminiscent of the silhouettes Adidas put out in the 90s, this colorway also features a flower graphic on the midfoot as well as a flower patch on the heel. I gotta admit, this is a pretty slick looking colorway, but unfortunately, they're not available, at least not yet. So hopefully, Adidas drops these in the near future so that people who like the Trey Young 2 or are just Trey Young fans can get an opportunity to cop these. Next up at number 4, we have CJ McCollum with the Li Ning CJ2. The Pelicans are absolutely balling right now. Almost as good as Li Ning is with this new colorway of the CJ2. Using a beautiful aqua and light pink color scheme, Li Ning round things out here with white and metallic gold hits, while the upper is elevated with a cloud graphic that looks like it's inspired by traditional Chinese art. Honestly, this is just one of those colorways that just makes sense. The brand, the shape, the colors, the graphics, it's an entirely cohesive package that results in an absolutely beautiful sneaker, and that is more than enough to earn a spot on this week's list. But honestly, guys, how crazy would it be if the Pelicans made the conference finals or maybe even the finals? I mean, as a Laker fan, that would slightly upset me, but as an NBA and basketball fan in general, that'd be pretty fun. Next up at number 3, we have Markelle Fultz with the Kobe 9 Engineered Mesh. Well, apparently Markelle Fultz is just like us, and this sneaker is proof of that. Back when Nike ID was at its peak, the number one thing that we all did on Nike ID was make a Yeezy colorway. Whether it was the white or black colorway, admit it, we all did it, and Markelle Fultz actually pulled the trigger on a pair with these Kobe 9 EMs, which were not only one of the best Kobe's of all time, but also one of the most prolific on the Nike ID service. There's a lot of Kobe 9 IDs out there, and while this colorway might be the most commonly created one, it's still a fantastic look for the silhouette, which is officially old enough to be nostalgic, which only helps its appeal. But seriously, we all created a Yeezy colorway on Nike ID. I actually pulled the trigger on a pair of Roshe Yeezys, whatever you want to call them. That is a super throwback video from way back in the day, which you can watch if you want some ultra cringe. Coming in as our runner-up, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo with the Zoom Freak 4. Giannis debuts a new colorway of his 4 signature model, which remind me a lot of a certain 90s sneaker. This colorway of the Freak 4s use a black and green color scheme, which is no doubt inspired by both the Bucks and Nigeria, with the iconic reverse swoosh featuring a colorful tribal pattern, which is very reminiscent of the urban jungle print that was infamously featured on the Nike Air Raid. Personally, I would have done without that green overlay on the toe box. I think that would have been a much cleaner look, but overall, this is still a really solid package that I think would do really well if Nike dropped them. Can I just give a quick shout out to Nike for a second though? I mean, I personally think they've been doing a great job with the Freak line. I mean, that reverse swoosh, which is kind of an identifying mark of a Giannis shoe, it just makes absolutely perfect sense for Giannis and his Freak nickname, as well as his play style. So good job, Nike. You are proving once again that you are the absolute GOAT at signature branding. Finally, at number 1, we have Bam Adebayo with the Air Jordan 37 Low. Now, speaking of branding and nicknames, Jordan Brand and Bam Adebayo bring the heat with this latest PE. Everybody knows Bam's nickname is naturally Bam Bam, and Jordan Brand hooks Bam up with a Bam Bam inspired player exclusive, complete with the animal print and the same print you can find on Bam Bam's clothing, as well as a hint of green on the laces and outsole, which, in case you haven't noticed, match with Bam Bam's bat. At the end of the day, synergy is the key word here. Jordan Brand took Bam's name and provided him with the absolutely perfect sneaker to match it, and that is just aces, and is exactly why I'm crowning these as the best sneaker worn in the NBA during week 8 of the 2022-23 season. If you enjoyed this week's episode of NBA Kicks, hopefully you smash that like button because it helps me out a lot. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more sneaker related content just like this, as well as new episodes of NBA Kicks every single week. All-Star Weekend's coming up, and that is always some of the best times for sneakers. So make sure you subscribe. My name's Jaron. It's great having you. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.